Hello fight fans and welcome back to Pride Resurrection, a historical video series dedicated to the Pride Fighting Championships, where with each episode we'll take a look back at a specific event from Pride's history. And today, dear viewers, we're going to be taking a look back at Pride 16. I am the most dangerous man alive today, joined by the Colombian Good Vibe. Oh, he's not here. That's right, fight fans. I am going to be flying solo for this event. Unfortunately, the Good Vibe has just been too busy with work. We've been really late with this episode, and I figured the show must go on. But not to worry, fight fans, because taking Good Vibe's place is the Colombian Good Vibe soundboard.
Woo!
Are you ready for this, Good Vibe soundboard?
Yeah!
He's pumped. I'm pumped. Let's do it. A portal from hell has suddenly opened up in the middle of Japan, and beasts from the netherworld have begun to flood into Earth. Japan is immediately beset by turmoil, and there is little that can be done to stop the flow of terror, and the world prepares for the end times. But there is one last hope. The Japanese government forms a special mission with 14 of the best warriors who will venture through the portal and enter hell to destroy the source of power that is causing the portal to stay open. They will only have one chance to save the world. Will they succeed? This is Pride 16, Beasts from the East. Held on September 24th, 2001 at the Osaka-jo Hall in Osaka, Japan. An estimated 14,000 fans have showed up for the festivities, with the Osaka-jo Hall capable of holding 16,000. This was probably considered a sellout due to the configuration of the ring, the entranceways, etc., etc. Pride 16 features 7 fights of beastly action, and tonight we will see a slew of debuts with Yoshihisa Yamamoto, Ninja Hua, Ricardo Arona, Semmy Schilt, and dandy Don Frye all making their debuts, along with the return of Guy Mezger and Mark Coleman. Before we get into the action, what else was happening in the MMA world around this time? 4 days after Pride 16, UFC 33 was held at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, and it was the first MMA event to be sanctioned by the Nevada Athletic Commission under the recently formed Unified Rules of Mixed Martial Arts. UFC 33, by all accounts, was a disaster of an event, one which Dana White has repeatedly called the worst Zuffa-era UFC ever. Reason? Every fight on the main card was dragged out to a decision, including the 3 title bouts, which went to 5 rounds each. Tito Ortiz was supposed to defend his light heavyweight belt against Vitor Belfort, but Vitor hurt his arm, and so journeyman Vladimir Matyushenko was called in to replace him. Tito won. Other fighters appearing at UFC 33 were Ricardo Almeida in the undercard. Matt Serra defeated Yves Edwards via decision. Chuck Liddell won via decision over Murilo Bustamante, future Pride fighter. Jens Pulver, another future Pride fighter, defended his lightweight championship against Dennis Hallman. And the newly minted UFC middleweight belt for the 185-pound division was won by Dave Menny. With all that out of the way, let's get into it. Pride 16.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of those who lost their lives in the September 11th terrorist attacks in the United States, we will now observe 1 minute of silence.
Mokto.
ありがとうございました。ご着席ください。本日のプライド16の収益金の一部をアメリカで起きました同時ターステロ事件の被災者への義援金として寄付させていただきます。
A portion of today's ticket sales will be donated to charities that support those affected by the September 11th attacks. On behalf of the American people, thank you.
Hi, my name is Stephen Quadros, and welcome to the Pride Fighting Championships Beast from the East. We're here at the Osaka-jo Hall in Osaka, Japan. I'm here with my partner, Bas Rutten. I spoke to every single fighter competing tonight. We've got fighters from Japan, fighters from Brazil, fighters from Europe, fighters from the UFC. They are all united in opposing these unlawful and cowardly acts that have been perpetrated against the citizens of the world. But the fighters are still going to throw down. Kick it off, Bas Rutten, and I am Stephen Quadros. I'm the fight producer, and welcome to Osaka-jo Hall in Osaka, Japan. And here come our contestants of the evening. Quite a multinational cast tonight, Bas.
Wow, it's good as always. Great opening. Fighters are ready. Man,
I got a good feeling about the whole evening now. I do. I think a lot of the fighters are really, really focused, especially in lieu of all the bad things that have been going on in New York and the Pentagon and things. I think the fighters have really showed a lot of unity, even though they're going to be facing each other in that ring. There's nothing personal going on. It's all for the sport of mixed martial arts and nothing more. No hatred involved. Nothing like that.
That's the most beautiful thing about mixed martial arts. Afterwards, we have the party, everybody talks with each other, there's a lot of fun, jokes. It's unbelievable. Sometimes people don't believe it, but there's a lot of camaraderie.
Well, this crowd is really waiting for this. We got a lot of tremendous matches, some people looking for revenge, and it is sold out here tonight at the Osaka-jo Hall. And there is Assuerio Silva, the latest Silva to break into the Pride Fighting Championships, right behind his teammate Mandalay Silva. And Yoshihisa Yamamoto, very popular professional wrestler here in Japan. Also a very accomplished mixed martial arts fighter, had a lot of fights in the ring. Oh yeah.
The new one.
Murilo, and his nickname is Ninja. Daijiro Matsui, Mr. Energy.
Oh yeah, they can make a commercial out for him. Energizer Bunny.
Ricardo Arona. This guy is in such good shape, Boss.
Yeah, I saw him when they were making pictures for the posters and everything. But Mezger also in a very good shape.
People are standing up, they're cheering. A lot of these fighters are known here, even though they're not from Japan. And the giant himself, Semmy Schilt, from Holland. And his opponent, look at Shoji.
He's way up there with Matsui. Those two together, very much alike.
Gilbert Ivel. This guy is the Hurricane, folks. Don Frye. Wow! A lot of support. That's a lot of support because he's been pro wrestling here for 5 years. Antonio Rodrigo Minotauro Nogueira. And there's our champion, Mark Coleman. Wow. Mark the Hammer Coleman. It's hammer time. Oh, yeah, baby.
Our show opens in a somber moment with a moment of silence for the September 11th terrorist attacks, an event that changed the world less than 2 weeks before Pride 16. And it's announced that a portion of the proceeds from the event will go to charities to those affected. Where were you on September 11th? I had been working the morning shift at a gas station as a stock boy. I remember waking up, turning on the TV, and seeing the smoke coming out of the World Trade Center on CNN. I went to work, but was so fixated on what was happening, I left early. What about you, Good Vibe? What do you have to say about the September 11th terrorist attacks?
Fuck you, Takada.
Fuck you, Takada. Okay, great. Quadros and Boss then try to add some levity to the show despite the somber feelings. And then he begins to go over our cards, specifically the main event of Coleman versus Nogueira. With input from Boss, Boss thinks Coleman will win.
But if Coleman takes him down, he can do the same to him as he did to Alan Goyas. And then I think it's going to be, Coleman all over again. I think Coleman's going to win this fight.
I think it's going to be a really tough fight for both contestants.
Then it's on to the parade of fighters, which sees the return of the crazy shouting heretic, who is extra enthusiastic. Then the Pride theme booms and our fighters are revealed. The crowd is totally pumped for this. This takes us to our first fight of the night, which sees a returning Gary Big Daddy Goodridge taking on a returning Yoshiaki Yatsu. Big Daddy was 35 years old, and his record at this time was 14-13. As for Yatsu, he was 45 years old, and his record was 0-1. A rematch from Pride 11 back in October of 2000, where Gary Goodridge pummeled Yatsu, causing the referee to step in and halt the fight. Since that time, Yatsu hasn't done much in the way of real fighting, except foolishly attending the Abu Dhabi Combat Club 2001 World Submission Grappling Championships, where he entered the plus 99 kilo division and lost to Rico Rodriguez in the opening round. Rico would make it to the quarterfinals of that tournament before falling to Mark Robinson, who would go on to win the plus 99 kilo division that year. Goodridge, meanwhile, was last seen at Pride 15, losing to Minotauro via triangle choke. Since then, he was invited to fight at the K1 Andy Hugh Memorial 2001 on August 19th, a month prior to Pride 16 here, an event that featured kickboxing and MMA. Goodridge fought Jan Nortje in an MMA fight at that event. Jan, South African boxer and kickboxer, was making his MMA debut and would fall to Goodridge. No shit. We'll get to see Jan make his debut in Pride at Pride 18. Pre-fight, Quadros gets a word in with Big Daddy, who predicts a lot of pain. Pain, pain, pain!
And your prediction on the fight?
My prediction is a lot of pain, same as before. Pain, pain, pain.
Quadros then brings up his history with Don Frye.
Don Frye and you had two classic battles in past years. He's fighting tonight on the card. What if Don Frye wins? Would you like to avenge your two losses to him?
I would more, you know what, I'd be so happy in order to beat up Don Frye again. I'm tickled pink just talking about it. Getting excited.
Quadros asks Goodridge if he has any statements to the American public, probably regarding 9/11, and Goodridge replies with some head-scratching math percentages.
This Pride, do you have any statement that you would like to make to the American public?
For the American public, like Yatsu gave me 80%. He thought to himself 80% he was going to win and 20% I would win. I'd be thinking really hard about the 20%.
Maybe he didn't understand the question. We jump into the ring, sans entrances, and Goodridge and Yatsu have just finished embracing. Boss hopes Yatsu has trained his stand-up. We see Big Tom Erickson in the corner of Goodridge, my grizzly bear. And he has some skinny-ass white Flaquito with him, who is Goodridge's webpage master. That's gotta be a sweet gig circa 2001. Yatsu, showing his age, has his trunks pulled way up to his stomach. Any thoughts here, Good Vibe soundboard?
Fucking sparkly shorts.
Let's do it. Round 1. Yatsu clumsily shoots in. A little slow, quips Quadros.
Well, Gary does look like he's in pretty good shape. And there's the shot by Yatsu, but it's a little slow.
Another shoot easily avoided by Goodridge. He does it a third time and gets kneed. Yatsu has been backed into the corner. Thinks of a kick. Goodridge with a reaching jab. Yatsu almost takes advantage of it. There is no fear of Yatsu throwing a punch. I don't know if he's too afraid or ill-prepared, but Goodridge has nothing to worry about standing up. Goodridge moves in with a jab. Yatsu ducks his head, nearly eating an uppercut. Yatsu shoots in, gets walloped, and falls back. Yatsu puts his fist out like the first time they fought, and Quadros and Boss immediately call it not good. Hard leg kick and then over the top right by Goodridge. Yatsu tries to rush in and Goodridge tees off. Yatsu looks okay. Yatsu foolishly goes in again, allowing Goodridge to clobber him. Yatsu attempts a bitch hit. Wow, he actually threw a punch, albeit a bitch punch, but still, I clapped.
It's big. I mean,
Yatsu's bad knees probably don't afford him much of the ability to actually shoot lower than the waistline, which is terrible. Why even do it? Hard leg kick by Goodridge. Goodridge backs Yatsu into the corner and wails on his head with uppercuts, then whacks Yatsu with some more as they depart the corner. Wow, Yatsu actually pulls off an okay-looking shot, and he gets the legs, but Goodridge sprawls, puts on a guillotine, and what? Yatsu's corner throws in the towel! Fuck me. Yatsu has a pink-haired woman, transitioning? Anyway, Goodridge is the winner at 3 minutes and 5 seconds of the first round by a TKO due to corner stoppage.
But Yatsu, in the first fight, he proved he can take a punch. Because Gary gonna almost fall back into the guillotine, and they threw in the towel. Yatsu's corner has thrown in the towel.
And why? There was nothing going on. It was a choke, but he didn't tap on a choke.
On the replay, we see that it is actually Yatsu who called for the towel to be thrown in. Then why did you act confused, Yatsu? What the hell? Why did you look at the referee as though you didn't know what was happening? You called for the fucking towel, asshole! I guess Yatsu knew what the score was, and apparently, after the last fight, he spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And then we're off to the next fight. Good vibe. Thoughts on Goodridge versus Yatsu here? Woo! Woo! Okay, why? Why is Yatsu doing this? For the money? Okay, but why is Pride doing this? Because Inoki? They wanted to give him a payday? I can accept that, but as a fight purist, I say boo! Boo! 2 out of 10. So what would become of our 2 wailing warriors here? Gary Goodridge won't be back in Pride until Pride 21 in June of 2002. Between then and now, or then and then, Goodridge would only fight once more in combat sports, which would be against Ebenezer Fontes Braga at the Inoki Bumbaya 2001 event. That is in December of 2001. As for Yatsu, this will mark an end to his MMA career. Yatsu would diddle in pro wrestling until 2003, having matches mostly in Fight of the World Japan Pro Wrestling. After that, he would go on to be the president of a transportation company. In November of 2010, Yatsu would be the recipient of a retirement celebration at Social Pro Wrestling Federation, which saw a series of events called the Yatsu Retirement, held through the month of November, with each event having Yatsu face off in a tag team match against similarly old farts, including the first Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama, and Hiroyuki Saito. He was 54 for that series of retirement matches, and in every single match, Yatsu would do the job, putting the other guys over. I'm so confused. You couldn't let the guy win once in one of his retirement matches? That just fucking sucks. We'll see ya on the other side, Yatsu.
Hello Pride fans, my name is Matt Hume. Tonight we're going to do something unique. I'm going to sit with you and judge the fights right alongside, live, during the matches. Hopefully this will give you a better enjoyment of the fights, and right now I want to give you a brief education in how we go over judging criteria in Pride. Pride has a unique and effective system of scoring fights that go to a decision. I'm going to explain that system to you now. The first criteria that we use is ippon. For the purposes of you home viewers, ippon means the effort to finish the fight. What we're looking for as judges is that the fighters display the right attitude and make the effort to knock their opponent out or to submit their opponent and to go for the finish in the fight. The second criteria that we look for as judges is damage. When the fighters are striking effectively, they will create damage on their opponent with either one strike or the accumulation of strikes. Now, we also look for damage from submission. If a fighter gets into a submission hold position but miraculously escapes that position but suffers damage, then we will award the fighter who placed in that position with a damage point. The third criteria that we use here in Pride is combination and ground control. Combination points are scored by the fighters throwing effective striking combinations while on their feet, and ground control points are scored when the fighters take it to the ground, pass the guard, and get positions where they can do damage from. They get points for the effort and achieving those actual positions and making those good combinations on the feet. The next criteria that is equally important is takedown and defense. Now, some of the fighters in Pride are wrestlers or takedown experts. They come from judo backgrounds or other martial arts that are unique in their takedown ability. When they achieve takedowns and show superiority in the takedowns, we award them points for that. Now, if the fighter stops them from taking them down, they are also awarded points for that. The next criteria is aggressiveness. Pride really looks for the fighters to finish the fights to create exciting fights for you fans. Now, aggressiveness is a criteria that we use that is similar to ippon. However, aggressiveness is in general, whereas ippon is specific aggressiveness to finish the fight. One of the things we do here also that's a criteria in Pride is a weight point. Now, if there's a difference of 10 kilograms, for you in the United States, that's about 22 pounds. If there's a difference between the fighters, as you will see in one of the matches tonight, the lighter fighter is awarded a point in each round to begin the fight so that that heavier fighter has to make that point up with other criteria. Okay, if the referee awards a yellow card to a fighter, that means the fighter has either got that card for stalling or for intentionally breaking a rule. Now, if it's a stalling call, you'll see the hand come up from the sideline judges as well. And when the referee gets confirmation, he will bring those fighters to their feet and give the appropriate fighter the stalling call. That's a point deduction. The fighters will resume the action again, and hopefully they won't stall again. Now, the other way to have a point deducted is by intentionally breaking the rules. We take rule breaking very seriously at Pride. We want to see sportsmanship and we want to see good action. So anytime a rule is broken, the yellow card is awarded, and it's possible that a red card can be awarded also, eliminating that fighter from the fight. Tonight, I'll be joining you fans for the second and third fight, and you'll have the opportunity to score the fights right along with me. When I see the criteria come up, I'll point it out, and if you want to keep the score right along beside me, we'll be able to compare notes, and hopefully that will add to your education and enjoyment of the fights here.
And now for the second match.
Arona よりアスエリオシーバ選手の入場です。
In the blue corner, from Brazil, Assuerio, Silva.
Okay, and here he comes. Assuerio Silva from the Shoot Box Academy down in Curitiba, Brazil. He was very impressive in his Pride debut, and that was against Valentine Overeem July 29th of this year. He leg locked Valentine Overeem, much to my surprise.
It was a big surprise because normally Valentine is the leg lock guy, the leg lock and the front choke guy. And yeah, he took over. He had a good position. He actually could have put a leg lock on Assuerio Silva, but he didn't see it, and Assuerio had the faster lock and he tapped him out.
I think that in that first fight, he ate a lot of leather, and Valentine was able to land a lot of punches on the ground to him, but he told us that sometimes because he's had so many fights, he'll let his opponent punch himself out and get tired.
Before our next fight, we get Matt Hume, storied man who helped inspire the Abu Dhabi Combat Club's creation of the World Submission Championships. He's also the rules director for Pride, in addition to being one of the judges. Matt explains some of the judging criteria for us. Then it's on to the next fight, which sees a returning Assuerio Silva taking on newcomer to Pride, Yoshihisa Yamamoto. Silva was 27 years old and his record here was 7-2. Yamamoto from Japan was 31 years old, and his record was listed at 11-12-1. Assuerio Silva is back after dispatching Valentine Overeem with a heel hook last Pride 15. Now he welcomes a hot Japanese star, but just who is this Yamamoto fellow anyway? Born in Kutamatsu, Japan, Yamamoto was a judoka in high school, and in 1991, he started wrestling for Fighting Network Rings, which from its inception in 1991 until around 1998 or 1999, was strictly a worked promotion. I am definitely no expert when it comes to Rings. Rings confuses me, and this is why. It's widely listed that Rings made its real fighting debut in 1995, January 25th to be exact. They held a real quote-unquote event at the Budokan Hall in Tokyo. But this event is actually called the final for the Mega Battle Tournament of 94, which was a fake tournament. What? Are you as confused as I am? If you look at Yamamoto's record, you will definitely see, at least on Wikipedia and SureDog, that this event, Budokan Hall 95, was listed as his fighting debut. I am not sure when Rings actually had their first real fighting event. It's definitely not in 1995, and it's definitely not this Budokan Hall 1995 event. I would say that they probably didn't really have their first real fighting event until 98, which means that Yamamoto's record is mostly fake. And so I have the question, why is it listed on his pro MMA record? Do people not give a shit? Whoever been editing his SureDog or his Wikipedia needs to be fired or replaced. Anyway, Yamamoto did make his real fighting debut at the one-night tournament of Vale Tudo, Japan, 1995, which was held in April of 95. Unfortunately for Yamamoto, Rickson Gracie was also at that tournament, and he would be Yamamoto's first fight. But, shocking the world, Yamamoto would drag Rickson Gracie to 3 rounds of fighting, with Rickson finally choking out Yamamoto at 3 minutes and 49 seconds of the third round. Rickson Gracie would go on to win the tournament, his second straight victory under the Vale Tudo Japan banner. But Yamamoto can hold his head high, as he is the only man in all of Rickson Gracie's pro fights to go past the first round. The rest of the 90s and early 2000s saw Yamamoto appear in a dozen more ring events, having notable bouts against Ricardo Moraes, a KO loss, Akira Maeda, probably a fake submission loss, Kiyoshi Tamura twice, a loss and a draw, Valentine Overeem twice, a submission win and a submission loss, Shiyoshi Kosaka, a TKO win. Wow. Jeremy Horn, a submission loss. And tall motherfucker Shimmy Schilt, a KO loss. His last fight prior to Pride 16 here came at the Rings King of Kings 2000 tournament, where Yamamoto managed to make it to the final round event in February of 2001, but he lost to Valentine Overeem via armbar in the quarterfinals. And that brings us here to Pride 16. Pre-fight, we get a walkout for Assuerio only, and the crowd in attendance are shockingly happy here, immediately clapping and beat with Assuerio's walkout music. This must be some type of coping mechanism. Yamamoto is already in the ring, and he's wearing cute purple trunks. Nice.
Fucking sparkly shorts.
That's right, good vibe soundboard. It's Japan versus Brazil, says Quadros, and Assuerio is wearing a knee brace on his right knee. Will that be a factor in this fight? Yamamoto is a pretty tall dude, a good 2 inches taller than Assuerio. Not much of a stare down, though. Let's do it. Round 1. Yamamoto flies in for a leg kick as Assuerio counters. Good inside leg kick by Yamamoto, and Silva is all about counter punches for these kicks. Yamamoto retreats and Silva chases him with a high kick attempt. Another solid inside leg kick by Yamamoto, but Silva whacks him and Yamamoto is down. Silva is all over him with punches, and the ref is in to stop the fight. Wow. Just like that, Assuerio Silva is the winner via TKO at what is called 11 seconds in the first round.
Let's go talk about the strength. He has a lot of explosive power. And here we go, yeah. Roundhouse kick.
Oh, he got hit there. He's getting grounded and pounded pretty good. And it looks like the fight's over.
Oh my God.
Well, our resident judge, Matt Hughes, didn't have a lot to say on that one.
Sometimes they go that way and it makes my job easy.
Yamamoto is fucked up, bleeding, still down on the mat, and Silva celebrates. I don't think Yamamoto is cut out for this. Also, I just noticed on the replay, Yamamoto has hairy ass legs. Yamamoto then exits the ring and we're off to the next fight. Good Vibes soundboard. What did you think of this fight?
When I watched this fight, it was like Silva just went in there knowing he was going to beat the shit out of this guy and ended up beating the shit out of this guy quickly.
Wow, that's very insightful, Good Vibes soundboard. Yes, Silva knew he was going to beat the shit out of him. Nice. Assuerio shows you what you do against a kicker. Well, a kicker who doesn't keep his hands up. Every time they kick, you punch, and Silva just overwhelmed and unprepared Yamamoto, who didn't keep his hands up when throwing his kicks. And he was demolished. Quick fight, not much to say, but good finish. 5 out of 10. So what would become of our two amazing fighters here? We'll next see Yamamoto at Pride 18, where he will take on a debuting K1 kickboxer, Jan Norchi. As for Assuerio, we won't see him for a couple years. He'll only appear in one more Pride, the first Pride Bushido event in October of 2003. He'll only have one fight between then, and that would come at Mecca Valley Tudo No. 9 in August of 2003. So that means Assuerio will have nearly 2 years off from being in action. Was he injured? Not sure, but maybe. We'll see you boys then.
ただいまより本日の第3試合を行います。
And now for the third match.
青コーナーよりムリーロ忍者選手の入場です。
From Brazil, in the blue corner, Murilo Ninja!
Okay, here he comes, Murilo Ninja Hua, also with the Shootbox Academy. This guy's undefeated right now, and he's got punches, and he's got submissions, Matt.
This guy's outstanding. All the guys from the Shootbox Academy are trained, well-rounded fighters. They're just great fighters, and then they come to fight.
Yeah, he had a pretty good triangle choke in one of the highlight tapes that we saw, but he's also got very accurate punching, boss. Yeah, and a level fight.
Matsui Daijiro選手の入場です。
Okay, here he comes. A crowd favorite here in Osaka, Matsui, and this is his 10th time in Pride. The 28-year-old hails out of Takata Dojo, and one of his teammates is the great Kazuki Sakuraba. And here he comes up the elevator. I love this elevator.
It's beautiful, beautiful. It's like a Terminator thing. You know, they bring him to the place of death.
Well, it is very much like Terminator. Like, remember at the end of Terminator 2 when they're up in that big steel factory?
Yeah.
And if you fall down, you're falling into a pit of hot lava. Well, here, they'll fall into the ring of the Pride Fighting Championship. Yeah. The difference is they walk into the ring. But the end, no. That's not talking about the end.
On to our third fight of the night, which sees a returning Daijiro Matsui taking on a debuting Murilo Ninja Hua. Matsui was 28 years old here, and his record was 3-7-2. Ninja Hua, who's from Brazil, was 21 years old and had an MMA record of 6-0-1. Lovable Jughead Matsui returns. We saw him last Pride, losing a decision to Ebenezer Braga. Now, here at Pride 16, Matsui will be battling his third straight Brazilian. But just who is this ninja fellow anyway? Born in Curitiba, Brazil, Murilo took up with the boys of the Shootbox, the hard-nosed training gym founded by Rudimir Federico in the late 70s, of which members include Vanderlei Silva, Jose Landy, and Ninja's brother, future Pride star Shogun Hua. Hua got his career started in the Curitiba-based Mecha World Valley Tudo, where at Mecha World Valley Tudo 1 on May 27th of 2000, Rua would submit Brazilian Adriano Verdelli via triangle choke at little after 3 minutes. 3 more Mecha World Valley Tudo events after that, and 3 more low-tier Brazilian fighters would fall, 2 via verbal submission to strikes and 1 via TKO, all within the first round. Then, Rua accepted a fight in Japan against Akihiro Gono at Shuto to the top 4, held on May 1st of 2001, a fight which went the distance and was declared a draw. Returning to Brazil, Rua took part at Mecha World Valley Tudo number 5, held on June 9th, where he submitted yet another little-known Brazilian fighter in the first round, and that was the last time Rua had fought, which brings us here to Pride 16. Pre-fight, we get walkouts for both men. Matt Hume has joined a commentator booth, which I didn't mention last fight as he was there as well. And it looks like he'll be giving us his judging opinions during this fight as he gives his opinion on Rua. Quadros talks Rua up before Matsui comes out. It's his 10th Pride fight. Quadros loves the elevator that they are using for the entrances as well. Vanderlei is in Rua's corner. Sakuraba is in Matsui's. The tension! Storylines! Quadros then fucks up, saying there is Sakuraba in the corner of Murilo Ninja.
There's Sakuraba right there in the corner of Murilo Ninja.
We knew what he meant. Quadros then brings up that Rua is coached by Jose Landi, whom Matsui defeated at Pride 14. The student wants to avenge the master, says Quadros. Well, let's get into it. Round 1, the bell rings. Matsui flies in for a leg kick and Rua counters with a jab and a half-hearted right. Matsui dives for the legs. Rua sprawls, then immediately spins to take Matsui's back, but Matsui caught a leg to impede him, then tries to hurl Rua over him, but Rua maintains control on top. Rua does take his back. Matsui is on his knees. Rua pulls Matsui up. On their feet, Rua tries to slam Matsui, but Matsui entangles himself on the ropes. Matsui back on his knees. Matsui works for a Kimura. We get a picture-in-picture of the broadcast booth with Matt Hume talking about a chicken wing. Rua gets his hooks in. Rua works for a rear naked choke. Matsui spins the face upward. Matsui continuously fights the hands of Rua. We get a shot of Sakuraba in Matsui's corner. Matsui turns back to his knees, rolls over again. Matsui then sneakily turns into Rua, getting into guard. Nicely done, Sui. Matsui stands, rains down some punches. Big Matsui chant erupts in the crowd.
Excellent escape by Matsui, flipping back over into the guard and landing right hands on Ninja. What a surprise. Now, Matt, Ninja had his back. How do you score the fight so far?
Well, so far, Ninja's winning the fight right now. They're both fighting aggressively. Ninja has the ground control points right now. And
in the corner, Matsui stands and thinks of a stomp. Furious defense from Rua. Rua fights to stand up. Matsui holds him, tries to lock in a guillotine and pull guard, but Rua is already out. He's in half guard. Matt Hume says he didn't award any damage points for the choke because it was never really sunk in.
Now, some people may wonder why I didn't score a damage point with that choke, and it was because the choke was never really sunk enough to cause any damage or to cause the danger.
Rua mistakenly tries for an arm and Matsui rolls him. Now he's on top. He stands. Rua tries to stand himself, but Matsui crowds him. Rua gets a leg. Matsui is in a forward headlock position. We're in the corner. Elbow to the back by Matsui. Body lock by Rua, and he takes Matsui down. But Matsui still had the neck. He stands, pulls guard for the guillotine again, but Rua is in half guard and is in a bad position to pull off the choke. He's only going to gas out his arms here. Matsui lets go of the choke, huffing and puffing. Both men have kept up a furious pace, and the crowd has been crazy for this fight so far.
Elbow in the back. Yeah. It's not going to do a lot of damage. I wouldn't do it. I'd rather take myself from the takedown.
Matsui gives up the takedown, but
look at this.
And gets front control again. He's going to really wear Ninja out. I don't think he can choke him out here, but it's going to be a lot of energy expended.
Rua works for an arm triangle as Matsui pouts his side. Matsui turns to his left, then switches and turns right, rolling Rua on the mat. He's back on top. Punches from the bottom by Rua. Matsui fights for a foot. The men get tangled up with a Matsui knee landing on Rua's head. Matsui is down in the guard. The ref comes in to move the fighters out of the ropes. 5 minutes down in round 1. Matsui has a foot as Hua squirms back on the mat while throwing punches. Hua gets to his knees and grabs a leg. Matsui sprawls, knees Hua's head. The men are standing. Hua pushes forward and takes Matsui down. The men roll and Matsui holds on, staying on top. Hua spends energy trying to pick Matsui up. We're in the corner. Hua is in half guard, then gets mount, but Matsui rolls and now he's back on top. Great reversals from Matsui. He's out to impress before he suddenly embarrasses himself with a horrible ankle lock attempt. That counts, says Matt Hume.
You get some points for that, man. Matsui.
That counts for ground points.
What? Hua is up and all over Matsui, getting into half guard, works punches to the body and head, which he keeps a steady pace of. 3 minutes left in round 1. Hua gets the side control, and Matt Hume talks about how Hua achieves a point for that. And if you are unfamiliar with Pride judging, points are accumulated throughout the fight, and fights are judged as if they were a whole, not strictly a round-by-round scoring system. Matsui turns to his belly. Hua goes to stand, and Matsui rolls to his back. Hua goes for a stomp, just clipping Matsui's head. Matsui rolls again, and Hua gets back into half guard. Hua goes for a very high Americana. Matsui spins out, and Hua stands. Hua tries a stomp to the head. Matsui stands, and Hua fails to pull the trigger. The men exchange punches, and then the men fall through the ropes. The ref brings them back in. The fight is then restarted. Hua meets Matsui with a knee, who counters with a punch. Punches from Hua, then tie clinch by Hua, who knees Matsui. Matsui grabs the ropes, falls down to his knees. Hua is on his back. Hua then stands, then kicks Matsui's giant head, not once, not twice, but thrice. Matsui is done, but Hua lets him off the hook and goes down to the side guard position. Hua hammers his head. Matsui rolls. Hua stomps, spins, and stomps, then gets down on top of Matsui with hammer fist and punches. Then he slows, but he is up on his feet. He grabs the ropes like a cheating fuck to help deliver a stomp. Matsui decides to stand. Hua stops him, though, is on his side and back. He knees. Matsui weaves. Hua tries a soccer kick to the face, gets back down on top of Matsui and punches and knees. Matsui rolls. Hua tries to stomp. Matsui grabs his foot, and then the bell rings. Wow, furious end to our round there. Hua looks spent. Matsui looks out of it. Quadros calls this the purest mixed martial arts show in the world.
This is the purest mixed martial arts show in the world, and we really tried to ensure the safety of the fighters.
Between rounds, Matt Hume talks about how Matsui was recovering and the ref was watching to make sure Matsui was responding. Not much else to say. Any thoughts? Good vibes soundboard?
You ever had, like, a moment where everything just becomes so clear?
I don't understand what that is supposed to even fucking mean. Oh, it's time for round 2. Breezy 1-2 by Matsui. Hua charges in and they clinch. Body lock and trip by Hua. Hua is in half guard. Matsui has his head all wrapped up. Hua tries to punch him. Hua looks to pass guard, works the body, then he does pass the side control. Matsui turns to his knees. Hua boots him in the face, then gets on top of Matsui to rain down punches. He's back in the half guard, then mount. Matsui gives up his back. Hua hangs on, then Matsui is flattened out. Hua works punches. Matsui tries to turn Hua to get on top. 2 minutes left in round 2. Hua is on Matsui's back, punching him repeatedly, and Matsui is gushing blood now. Hard shots from Hua. Matsui is still alive, though, trying to fight him off. Matsui tries to turn and stand up, but Hua stifles him and pushes him down to get into mount again. Matsui rolls, and he's managed to dislodge Hua. He stands and rushes Hua, but leaves a leg for Hua to grab, and Matsui is taken down. Hua is in side control, busts Matsui ear, then knees Matsui's jug. Then Matsui slows down to rest, and then the bell rings, ending round 2. Matsui is quicker to stand this time around. I'll give Matsui props, though, for still being in this fight. He isn't defeated yet. Hume calls Matsui a survivor, and that is for sure. Quadros then brings up the storyline of Vanderlei / Sakuraba, and how they are in the corners of their respective fighters, and how they will meet for the middleweight championship at the very next Pride.
It's really an interesting dynamic here because Sakuraba is in Matsui's corner, Vanderlei is in Ninja's corner, and they will meet in the Pride Fighting Championship 17 and fight for the middleweight title on November 3rd, 2001. That's going to be a really exciting fight.
Will Hua be able to do what Shootbox brother Vanderlei couldn't do and stop Matsui? Let's find out. Round 3. Hua shuffles in and delivers a high body kick, then slips as he delivers a punch. They clinch, knees by Hua and then a left that has Matsui rocked. Matsui tries to fire back and Hua clips him again with a left, then tie clinch against the ropes. Matsui is still standing, throwing overhand rights. 1-2 by Hua and the men are in the corner. Matsui with a desperate judo throw attempt that fails. Matsui is on his knees, is admonished for holding the ropes. He stands and kicks Matsui's face. Matsui looks like he was poked in the eye. Then Hua stomps his head and finally, it's all over. Matsui looks stunned, disappointed, and beat up. And Ninja Hua is declared the winner via TKO at 31 seconds of the third round.
Ninja wanting to trade here. Whoa, this is a fight. You've got to be careful with the knees. Shootbox fighters are known for their Muay Thai techniques. Knees being the primary weapon of the Muay Thai arsenal.
One of the great things here that Ninja's doing is he's switching techniques. As soon as he lands something, he's not trying to land the same thing over and over. He switches his angles or he goes from punches to knees to kicks.
I think the shootbox style is a style that, oh, there's the soccer kick. Matsui looks like he's done.
I think he got a toe in the eye. That's it.
I think that's the end of the fight. The referee weighs it over. It's going to be a TKO.
Yeah, that's a good decision.
Look at Pele in the corner. Now,
wow.
Now that was an impressive victory for Murilo Ninja Hua.
The fun boys of Shootbox are in to celebrate, and not for long because we're off to the next fight. Good Vibe Soundboard, anything you want to say?
Fuck you, Takeda.
So, what would become of our two nagging ninjutsu nepotists here? Ninja Hua will be back at Pride 17, Championship Chaos, to have the toughest challenge of his young career, Dan Henderson. As for Matsui, he won't be back until Pride 18. Cold Fury 2, held in December of 2001. There he will be taking on hobo extraordinaire Quentin Rampage Jackson. See ya boys then.
Your opponent is Ricardo Arona from Brazilian top team. How do you expect that fight to go?
You know, it's tough to say. You know, he's a real well-rounded fighter from what I understand. I don't know that much about him, but I've seen him. He's got good takedowns. I expect him to try to take me down, and I'm sure he expects me to try to knock his head off his shoulders.
Do you have any special motivation in this fight?
You know, I don't. You know, it's kind of hard to explain. You know, with everything going on, if anything, it takes a little bit of wind out of our sail. You know, being here with all the tragedy that's going on, you know. But, you know, I look at it like this as I'm a professional, you know. This is what I do for a living, you know. And I go out there and I give 100% of whatever I have every time I go out and fight, win or lose. And I don't expect any less out of me tonight.
Have you ever had a fighter be jealous of you because you're better looking than he was?
Aren't they all? Nah, I don't know. You know, you have to take that up with them or their girlfriend.
Let's say you win. What next?
Next, when I win today. So, first, give a big handle with my friends to help me in my job, and later go to the party and enjoy with other guys.
Do you have any fighters particularly that you want to fight?
Oh yes. I want to fight the championship of this principal fight with Sakuraba and Vanderlei Silva. I really wanna fight with the champion of this fight.
赤コーナーよりガイ・メッツァー選手の入場です。
Okay, here he comes, boss. He's no stranger to us. He's fought in the fighting championship a lot of times. Fought over here in Bank Race, and that was an event that you used to excel in pancrase. Now, how is the Pride Fighting Championship different from what you used to do in pancrase?
Well, it's also in the ring, but the big difference is we were wearing shoes and shin pads, and we had palm strikes to the head. Close fist to the body, but palm strikes to the head. Now, at the end, the last few years, pancrase and captain also went to close fist, pretty much the same rules as here. You see here Guy Mezger coming up with the American flag.
Guy, very, very emotional about the effects of the terrorist, cowardly acts perpetrated against New York because a very special and significant woman, Guy's fiance, lives in New York.
Yeah, Guy is,
On to Fight 4 of the Eve, which sees the return of Guy Mezger, who will be taking on newcomer Ricardo Arona. Guy Mezger was 33 years old here, and his record coming into this fight was 28-12-2. Arona, from Brazil, was 23 years old, and his MMA record was 5-1. Mezger is back after being knocked out by Chuck Liddell at Pride 14, and now he has the task of welcoming in another Brazilian newcomer. But just who is this Ricardo Arona fella anyway? A practitioner of judo, karate, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Arona joined the Carlson Gracie gym when he was 18 years old. At the Abu Dhabi Combat Club's Submission World Championships of 2000, held on March of that year, he won gold in the 99 kilo division and shortly after would make his pro fighting debut in Japan at Rings Millennium Combine 1 on April 20th of 2000. There he fought Andrei Kopylov, cult favorite Rings Russia fighter, whom we'll see at Pride 22. Arona would win a decision against Kopylov. Next, Arona would fight Jeremy Horn at Millennium Combine 3 in August of 2000, winning via split decision after 3 rounds. Then came Rings King of Kings 2000 opening rounds, where Arona drew Fedor as his first fight. Fedor would win that one via decision. But Ricardo would be given another chance at a tournament, this time the one-night middleweight tournament held at Rings. 10th anniversary event in August of 2001, where Arona would defeat Jeremy Horn via decision, then Gustavo Machado via TKO to become the inaugural Rings middleweight champion. The belt was likely forfeited, though, when Arona signed with Pride, as Arona would never appear in another Rings event for the rest of his career. And that was the last time Arona had fought, prior to Pride 16 here. So here we are. Pre-fight, Quadros has a chat with Mezger, calling Ricardo Hicardo. Is that the proper pronunciation? Quadros asks if Mezger has any special motivation. Kinda hard to explain, says Mezger. Quadros is then with Arona, and Quadros wants to know what Arona intends to do in Pride. Though he speaks English, I couldn't understand a fucking word he said. Can you fight fans?
Let's say you win. What next?
Next, when I win today. So, first, give a big...
As for who Arona wants to fight, he says Sakuraba or Vanderlei. We get a walkout just for Mezger, and God bless him. He comes out draped in Old Glory, along with an American flag shirt and American flag shorts. I love you, Mezger. Quadros says that Mezger was very emotional about the effects of the terrorist attacks. Boz hopes those feelings don't disturb him during the fight. Arona, already in the ring, looks super fit. He has Mario Sperry, future Pride competitor, in his corner, and Mezger has Ken Shamrock in his corner. Anything you want to say here, Colombian Good Vibe Soundboard?
I mean, I don't fucking care if the guy goes home, sleeps with hookers, and does cocaine. I'm only watching him in the fucking ring. I don't care what his family life is like.
Time for fighting! Round 1. The bell rings, they touch gloves, paw at each other, and then Arona rips off an inside leg kick. And then Mezger fixes his fucking knee guard! Mezger! We talked about this! Quadros notices Boss says Ricardo with an R. He decides he should clarify his own pronunciation.
It was actually a good left low kick inside leg there by Ricardo.
Sometimes you're going to hear Boss Rutan say Ricardo, sometimes I will say Ricardo. In Brazil, they pronounce the words that begin with an R with an H sound.
Ricardo wings in with a big leg kick, then Mezger throws out a big right hand. Nice way to counter a kicker. Good inside leg kick from Mezger, then one from Arona. Another big leg kick from Arona, and Mezger tries to counter again. Arona decides to shoot in. We hit the ropes. Mezger with good defense. Body punch, and Arona pushes him into the corner. They fight for position. Mezger spins him, works the body. Knee by Arona. We're in a stalemate here. Out of the corner to the center of the ring. Then they fight along the ropes. Nice knee by Arona. Body lock by Mezger, and he tries to muscle Arona down, but Arona falls on top of him in side control. Arona tries for mount. Mezger goes to stand. Arona takes his back, then knees Mezger's ass meat. Arona pulls Mezger down. Good positioning by Mezger, though, as he gets in a forward position. Then Arona pulls guard. Mezger goes for punches. Arona looks to tie him up, but Mezger stands. Kicks by Mezger to a downed Arona. Arona taking a breather, but the ref is in to stand Arona up. On the restart, the men circle. They finally trade, but neither man gets much off. Two-step leg kick by Arona, and that might have hit the wrong leg. The short leg, that is.
They know about the motherfucking, we got some shit on us. We got all this shit. We the shaboinking people. We got some dicks hanging down.
Action called by the ref. Straight by Mezger causes Arona to swing away. They clinch against the ropes. 5 minutes down. Arona tries to pull Mezger down, but that slippery little guy just squirts right out of his grasp. And Mezger is now on top. He takes a tall guard position and throws down punches. Then he is pushed away. He kicks at Arona. Tries stomps. Arona paws back at him. The ref is in to stand Arona up. On the restart, the men circle again, pawing forward toward each other. Leg kick by Arona is countered by Mezger. Arona throws a pushing left fist that tilts Mezger's forehead, and then the men tie up against the ropes. Body work by Mezger, light knees by Mezger. 3 minutes left in round 1. The ref decides to separate the men from their grapple, and the ref maybe warns them to get more active. On the restart, not much happens immediately. Mezger flies in with a body punch, then slick head kick. Then the men try and trade. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Bad 1-2 by Arona, thrown with his chin sticking way out. It was fucking awful. Now I know why this fight is sucking right now. Arona just can't box. 1 minute left now in round 1, and Arona comes in with his awful punching, actually pushing Mezger against the ropes. Mezger body locks him and tries to trip Arona down, but Arona stays standing. We're clenched in the corner, and the men trade punches and knees, and the round ends here. Between rounds, we're shown the replays of Arona's horrendous punching, and Quadros says that it's obvious that jiu-jitsu is his first language, punching being a distant second.
I think you should go with the low shot, that counter left hook there. And, you know, Arona's trying, but you can see that jiu-jitsu is his first language and punching is his second language. It's very well said.
Round 2, leg kick by Mezger. Arona throws a punch like a girl. Mezger ducks, they grab each other, move to the corner, then against the ropes. And Mezger spins and trips Arona down, but Arona is back up, eating a knee. Arona throws the same straight right that goes over Mezger's head. They clinch again in the corner. Charlie horse by Mezger, then an uppercut and the men break, swinging away at each other. Mezger backs away and Arona just keeps throwing, clipping Mezger with a left. Mezger knees, then a short left. Arona goes for the leg, sprawl by Mezger in a forward headlock position. They stand and Mezger rips off a left kick that clocks Arona right in the jaw. Arona, like he was just shot in a movie, flops back.
Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
In comical fashion, Mezger charges in. Arona shoots. Mezger pushes him to his back, is in side control. Mezger works small punches, then he's in guard. The ref stops to move the fighters. Mezger, furious, swings around in top position. Quadros recommends Mezger stand up, and I concur. Mezger works an Americana, to which Arona grabs his leg for a knee bar. Mezger fails, and Arona still with the knee bar. Mezger boots him in the face. Mezger grabs Arona by the waist, pulls him back, and now Mezger has his back, but we're in the ropes. The ref moves them. Arona turns for guard. Mezger works the body. Arona gets a leg around Mezger and punches him with a good shot as Mezger stands. And then Mezger fixes his fucking knee guard! 2 minutes left now in round 2. Arona is stood up by the ref. Mezger looks real slow now. They clinch. Arona similarly looks gassed. Both men have too much muscle for a good gas tank. Arona sleeps on top of the ropes. Mezger punches him. 1 minute left now in round 2. Off the ropes, Arona tries to power Mezger down, but Mezger has the arm locked, aka a whizzer. Arona is down on his knees. Mezger punches him. Arona pulls guard, and Arona looks dead out of gas. Mezger is in guard, pelts the body, but not much happens before the bell rings. Between the rounds, Quadros says that he believes Arona needs a submission to win this fight, as he doesn't think Arona is capable of knocking Mezger out.
I believe that Arona needs a submission to win this fight. I don't think he will win by knockout because he's not that accomplished a puncher.
Not with that boxing, I'm in agreement. Mezger is winning this fight by a good margin. Round 3! Mezger punches Arona with a right. Arona wanted to fire one himself, but didn't seem to. Leg kick by Arona. Boss talks about Mezger being tired and how he himself has had that feeling of not being able to hold up your hands.
Keeping your hands up at this moment takes a lot of energy. It's very strange, man. And I had it a lot too, you know, in the fight. I'm real tired, and they said, put your hands up, and it takes so much power away.
Arona goes for a hooking right that misses. The men clinch, and Arona takes him down. He's on top and guard in the corner. Ref comes in to move the fighters. Both men are lethargic to get into position. Arona tries punches, gets a few good ones off. Arona works the body. Quadros and Boss wonder if this is enough to win a decision now. Arona postures up and throws down on Mezger. 2 minutes left now in our fight. Still the same. 1 minute left now. Quadros brings up that Mezger was distracted pre-fight by the events of September 11th.
Mezger was, as we said before, and as he said at the head of the show, really affected emotionally by the events in New York and the Pentagon and really around the world. And it really took some of his motivation out, but I think in true championship spirit, he's stepped into the ring and he's fought regardless of the depressed state that he may have been in.
A few more shots from Arona, and then the bell rings, ending our fight. Arona collapses in his corner, and Mezger rests on his knees. Both Boss and Quadros give the fight to Mezger.
Only the judges know. I got to go with Mezger. Me too.
But we'll have to go to the judges now to learn the result of our fight, which is...
Not anymore. We used to have draws.
判定の結果をお伝えします。ジャッジバット、ガイ。ジャッジ小林、アローナ。ジャッジマット、アローナ。
Oh my God. Ricardo Arona has won a split decision.
Ricardo Arona, winner via split decision. Oh my God, says Quadros. Arona musters up the energy for a backflip. Mezger is helped to the back for a shower, and then we're off to our next bout. Good vibe. Any thoughts on Mezger versus Arona?
Yeah!
What is it?
Fuck you, Takeda.
This fight kind of sucked. The pace was bad. Both men gassed out. Mezger should have had a field day on the stand-up considering how bad Arona's boxing was. But maybe he was too afraid of the takedowns? 4 out of 10. So what would become of our two jacked up jukers here? We won't see either man for a couple Pride events. Arona won't be back until Pride 20 in April of 2002, where he will be taking on Dan Henderson. And Mezger won't be back until Pride 22. Beasts from the East 2 in September of 2002, a year layoff for him. There, he will be taking on Yoshihisa Yamamoto. See you boys then!
Welcome to Intermission.
Alright, fight fans, I am going to be, since it's just me and no good vibe, I'm going to be playing some games by myself. Some games I really like. I'm going to be playing King of Fighters 98, which, in my opinion, is the definitive version. Let's try this again here. Alright, fight fans. Since there's no good vibe, I'm just going to play a game by myself. And I'm going to play what I believe is the definitive version of King of Fighters. That's King of Fighters 98. You can fight me over this if you want, argue about it. I think this is the best version of King of Fighters. Every previous version kind of just... The King of Fighters series overall has been more of a... Each release has been a evolution, sort of a step up. But this is where it all came together. I like King of Fighters 99. King of Fighters 99 is great. King of Fighters 2000 I also like, but it's more of like a sidestep to 99. Though I think the pinnacle of the series was reached here with King of Fighters 98. So let's get some coins in here. And my fucking controller is not working. Oh, I don't have it focused. That's why. I was going to shit myself if that didn't work. So here's how you play the game. You push the buttons, you move the joystick, you beat the guys up. I know how to do this. So let's do this here. Alright, I'm going to pick my go-to team with Ragol, Hindern, and Yamazaki. I don't know. It doesn't matter what order they go in. The first fight in King of Fighters, like the first team you fight, is always really easy. I could not touch the controller, and the computer will not finish me off in a round. It'll literally go to timeout, and they won't defeat you. So I'm just gonna probably just sweep through the probably first 3 or 4 battles, like no problem. Now, King of Fighters, is a team battle game, if you don't know, but it wasn't a tag team battle game, so you had to wait, and she just got a super off on me. Fucking shit. Because I'm focused on talking here and not playing. And she's got me in a corner. This bitch. I will admit it's been probably 3 years since I played this game. 3, 4, 5 years. It's been a while. Let's see if I can get through the rest of these people with... there's her bouncing boobs. Yeah! Oh my god, I lost. That's pretty pathetic when I just got done telling you how the computer is so simple on the first 3 fights. Yamazaki! He's really slow, he doesn't have a high jump. You know, the problem is the controller I got this little shit controller. A little PlayStation 1 controller. That's just what I had that I could put in this room. Let's go! You know what I really like, though? I do like the SNK versus Capcom games that came out on the Dreamcast. They were in the arcade too. I can't remember the name of the arcade board right now. I should be able to beat King here, no problem. King of Fighters 97 is okay. It just, the roster is smaller. I mean, this one has like all the characters you could want. The graphics never really changed. They got a little bit better from like 94, 95. You know, in 96 and 97, the graphics had gotten better. But they never really improved much beyond this. They still look good. I like them. I like the backgrounds. He's got great kicks. His kicks like really well animated. What did I do there? What the fuck was that? What is that? What did she do? A toe hold? Suplex? She should be in Pride Fighting. She's got bouncing boobs too. I think she was a newer addition. I don't know. I forget when they added her. He was like the bad guy of what's the fuck the name of the series? The other series, Fatal Fury. But anyway, this sort of King of Fighters is like the combination of Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting, I think. Oh, he beat me. What? He's like the only guy that has a weapon. Why does he have a weapon? Where does he get a weapon? I think later editions of King of Fighters, like after SNK was pretty much bought up by Playmore, they added some of the Last Blade characters, I think. Maybe like King of Fighters 2002? Anyway, I never played those because the quality was really down. It was really just cut and paste. They took everything that they had made before. Playmore. They were really cheap about how they handled the properties. And they just cut and paste anything that they had into a new game, and it wasn't good. I don't think I want to spend the amount of time here to go through all these fights. We'll just see how far I can go in an okay time frame. Oh, I'm sucking his dick with my hand. Did you see that? What the hell, Hydern? That's pretty gay. I grabbed him right in the dick, and I was taking energy out from it. Oh, he got me. Come on, I'm done. He's flipping out. He's going nuts. Back kick. He's got some pretty easy combos here. Alright, let's go. He is nuts. He's supposed to be nuts. I love the art style of the artists that they had to draw the characters for King of Fighters. At least the portraits like they did. We'll make this the last fight here. Let's see if I can beat these guys. Hey, you little fucker. Come on. Fuck you. What, are you spitting at me? Get him! Oh, you. F you. Alright, you're dead. Fuck! That wasn't good. Get him! Fuck you, you motherfucker. What the hell? Fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. If I lose to him. If I lose this here. Let's go. It's all you, Yamazaki. Oh. Get him. All right, let's go. I'm ready to go. I'm going to do it all right here with Yamazaki. Look at this guy who's wearing shorts. Are you fighting in shorts? That was luck that I got past that. Come on, let's go. I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. No! Oh, well, that's it. Let's get back to the fights.
And our second half's about to begin.
Shoji Akira 選手の入場です。
In the red corner, from Japan, Akira Shoji!
Now, when this guy comes into the ring, we see probably the truest warrior in the Pride fighting circuit.
100%. Did you see that preview, that little clip from him against Coleman? Wow.
Well, the audience didn't see that in America, but we saw Shoji take Coleman down, get him in trouble, punch him in the face. That happened last year in the Pride Fighting Championship Grand Prix, of where he drew Mark Coleman, the top fighter in the sport today, and he really gave Coleman a scare there for a second.
Oh yeah, he did. This guy is ready to go, and like we call him in the previous interviews, he's the true samurai warrior. A lot of energy.
He's going to need that warrior spirit because he's stepping in with the biggest man in the sport, in Sammy Schilt, and I think that Shoji has got to use movement and almost like be like Spider-Man. He's got to circle Sammy Schilt so many times, almost like he's weaving a web.
Our next fight, 5-5 of the evening, sees a returning Akira Shoji taking on newcomer Semmy Schilt. Shoji was 27 years old with an MMA record at this time of 8-5-5. Semmy, from the Netherlands, was also 27 years old, and his record was 19-10-1. Shoji, who is a questionable 5'8", welcomes in Schilt to Pride, who lists at 6'11", or maybe just 7 feet. Shoji has a tall task ahead of him indeed, but just who is this Schilt fellow anyway? Born in Rotterdam, Amsterdam, Schilt is a black belt in Ashihara Kaikan. He made his MMA debut in Pancrase at Truth 5 in May of '96. He got his career off with a win, submitting Manabu Yamada via rear naked choke in the first round. After that, Schilt was immediately positioned as a dangerous opponent for the boys of Pancrase and was given tall orders through his first full year in '97 with bouts against top competitors Ryushi Yanagasawa, Yuki Kondo, Guy Mezger, and Masakazu Funaki. Semmy was unable to garner a win against any of those men.
Our corner 211センチ、110キロ、セムシュルト。赤コーナー178センチ、83キロ、ランキング5位、鈴木みのる。
Come 1999, Semmy had a middling record of 9-7, while managing to avenge his losses against Guy Mezger and Masakazu Funaki, Mezger via TKO and Funaki via KO. But 1999 would be the year that Schilt would break out. After 2 tough losses to start the year, Yuki Kondo at Pancrase Breakthrough 4 via decision in March, and then Gilbert Ivel via KO at Rings Holland, King of the Magic Rings, in June, Semmy would tear through the rest of 1999 and then all of 2000, not losing another bout until 2001. During that time, notable wins for Semmy include Yoshihisa the Punk Minowa via decision at Pancrase 1999 anniversary show in September of 99, finally topping Yuki Kondo via rear naked choke at Pancrase Breakthrough 10 in November 99.
プレイサイドとしてこの前これも届いていない
近藤にしてみたら今のキックは届かなくても全然構わない蹴りですね。相手に対するプレッシャーですね。
あってきたこれは怖いですよね。そうですね。安田さんこれ前回もありましたよね。そうです。前蹴りこれも鈴木選手が言っていたことなんでしょうか。相手に見せておくような初手これも頭を振って伸ばしています。キック見えているさあ後ろから膝をしかしシュルトも一つ小手を出しておいて片足タックル倒せるか近藤しかし右が左の腕が絡んでます。このスリーパーそのまま絞り上げる
勝者セームシュルト
いやセームシュルトの太い腕がアナコンダのような腕が近藤の首に巻きつきました。
すべての選手が狙っているベルトですからね。
そうですからね。やはりこのパンクラスの本堂はやはりこのパンクラスルール、それの頂点ということはやはりパンクラスの最強と言っていい。
パンクラスの最高峰のベルトですからね。
そうですよ。まあそういった意味では歴代最長身のまあ王者が誕生したということになったんですね。
そうですね。パンクラスのベルトはですね、強い選手が巻いてるんじゃないんですよ。その時強い選手が巻くことができるベルトなんですよ。ちょっとしたニュアンスの違いなんですけど、
巻く資格があるという、
その時強いから巻けるんですよ。
Yoshihisa Yamamoto at Rings Holland in June of 2000, Dirty Bob Shriver via guillotine at It's Showtime in October of 2000, and then Pete Williams TKO win at UFC 31 in May of 2001. UFC 31 was the first of 2 UFC appearances for Semmy. The second would be a bout against Josh Barnett at UFC 32, Showdown in the Meadowlands, held on June 29th of 2001 in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Barnett would armbar Semmy in the first round, giving Semmy his first loss in 2 years and 10 fights. That was Semmy's last fight prior to Pride 16. Pre-fight, we only get a walkout for Shoji, who comes out to some rocking Japanese music. Quadro says Shoji has to utilize movement like Spider-Man.
I think that Shoji has got to use movement and almost like be like Spider-Man.
The ring announcer says something regarding the fight that gets the crowd to cheer. And before Quadros or Boss say anything, I'm going to say that it has to do with the rule regarding strikes allowed when there is a 10-kilo weight difference. I'm betting Shoji has agreed to allow kicks and knees to a downed opponent, which was his choice due to the weight disadvantage.
この試合は両選手の体重差が10キロ以上ありますが、体重が軽い庄司選手が4点ポイント状態での打撃攻撃を認めたため、通常通りのルールとなります。ただし判定の場合は10キロ以上の体重差が有効となります。
And bless my heart, Quadros finally does relay this information to us.
Akira Shoji, because he is outweighed by over 10 kilos or 22 pounds, Shoji had the option to either have knees and kicks on the ground or not. He chose to fight under full Pride rules.
Holy tall motherfucker! Shoji literally has to look straight up to Schilt. Boss calls it a stare up, not a stare down.
Look at that. He's going to get a stiff neck just looking him in the eye.
It's a stare up. It's not a stare down.
It's time to fight. Round 1! The men start off with a standoff. Shoji circles a lot. Quadros recommends Shoji circle to his right to avoid Schilt's dangerous right knee. Shoji hilariously jumps up and punches the air, eliciting a laugh from Boss in the crowd.
Goes for a takedown and shoot. Defend the takedown first and then goes for strikes to the head.
Short left kick from Schilt and Shoji charges in, not getting much off. He gets a hold of Schilt against the ropes. Schilt holds on to a guillotine choke, but Shoji is out of it and he manages to get Schilt down. Massive Shoji chant breaks out.
Because he's a submission artist. Oh, this is great. Akira Shoji gets the takedown. Now, I didn't expect this. I expected this to be a stand-up fight dictated by Schilt. Shoji in Schilt's guard. Got to be patient here. And what should he do here?
Shoji is in full guard, turns Schilt away from the ropes, and Schilt has his arms trapped. Then Shoji frees his right and works the body and head. Schilt regains control of Shoji, works a couple of punches, works wrist to control, and Boss, God love him, he calls Shoji the little Igor Volchanchin.
Yeah, like we always say, I call him the little Igor Volchanchin, Akira Shoji. A lot of heart. He's actually built a little bit the same, just a little smaller.
He loves that comparison. Been saying it for like 5 years now. Shoji gets off a nice punch, then moves the half guard, but whoop! Just like that, Schilt rolls him. Now Schilt is in full guard. He works lefts to the body, then postures up, tries a missing hammer fist, then gets off 2 good ones as he works wrist control. Shoji is massively disadvantaged here, not only Schilt's length, but his weight as well. Nice right by Schilt. Shoji ties him up, then lefts by Schilt. Shoji tries a couple of punches, 5 minutes down in round 1. 2 hammer punches by Schilt, and suddenly he's up to his feet, leaving Shoji on the mat. Shoji slides on his ass and calls for Schilt to come back down to his guard. Schilt backs away and Shoji scoots towards him in a menacing fashion. Boss says Schilt has such long reach, he should just kick him. In the head, says Quadros. Yes, in the head, says Boss.
Oh, Schilt should kick because he's got so much reach. He should try kicking him in the head. Yeah, he can kick him in the head.
The ref is in to stand Shoji up, and the fight is restarted. Shoji circles Schilt with a knee. Shoji fights him off, then another knee against the ropes, and Shoji tumbles to the mat. Schilt wisely steps away so Shoji will be stood up. Schilt walks Shoji down, throws a punch, misses with a knee. An interesting note from Quadros. Both of these men had prior scheduled opponents. Schilt was due to fight Igor Volchanchin, who bowed out due to a shoulder injury, and Brad Kolar was supposed to fight Shoji, likely a gimme fight for Shoji.
Which makes him a very dangerous striker. Well, this fight came as a result of 2 injuries. Originally, Igor Volchanchin, one of the top heavyweights in the sport from Ukraine, was to fight Semmy Schilt, but he injured his shoulder, and Brad Kolar from the United States was going to fight Shoji.
Kolar hadn't fought in over a year at that point, last losing to Valentine Overeem via submission in a rings event in 2000. His record would have been 11-9, so much better matchup for Shoji had it happened. Shoji tries an inside leg kick and Schilt fires back. Another inside leg kick by Shoji. Schilt reaches for a swinging left punch. Left straight by Schilt and then a knee that rocks Shoji, who falls to the mat. Schilt, instead of destroying Shoji with stomps or kicks to the head, simply backs away. 3 minutes left in round 1 now. Quadros politely calls Shoji fat.
But it looks like Shoji may be carrying a few extra pounds in this fight.
Shoji tries errant side kicks, side-ish kicks. He throws several of them as Schilt is all over him. Schilt has Shoji backed into the corner and he rips off punches, then flies in with a knee. Shoji twirls, fleeing to the other side of the ring. Hard leg kick by Schilt. Schilt moves in, but hesitates as he wants to throw a knee. Shoji simply collapses and Schilt walks away. On the restart, Schilt walks Shoji down again, punches him in the liver, then face. Shoji falls, knee by Schilt, and then the ref is in to stop the fight. Semmy Schilt, victorious in his Pride debut at 8 minutes, 19 seconds of the very first round via TKO.
A little winded, and Sem is known for his stamina. He can go all the way. If Shoji wanted to get an easy win, to get back in the winning streak after picking up 2 losses, this may have been the wrong fight to do that with.
Oh, there's the liver shot again, you see?
Oh, Shoji is out. That's it. That's it.
Over.
it's over. Shoji has been stopped by the behemoth, Semmy Schilt, with strikes.
Wow. It was the liver shot that set it up. Did you see it? You had the liver shot, you saw him crimping a little bit, then the knee to the head again.
Schilt celebrates and Shoji is attended to. He looks okay. Schilt was just too much for him. Semmy Shithole is how the winner, Schilt, is announced by the ring announcer.
Round one, Semmy Schilt really not surprising us, because going into this fight, it would almost
I shit you not. He gets a miniature trophy and then we're off to the next fight. Good Vibe Soundboard. Any thoughts on this fight?
I like this match. It's a striking match.
My thoughts. Shoji bit off more than he could chew. Schilt proved too tall and too accurate in his striking. Shoji, not being mean here, isn't that great of a fighter. He's a middling performer. Nothing wrong with that. He can continue to cash paychecks. You just throw him a bone every now and then with the likes of John Rankin or Herman Renting, but we know he won't be winning any titles. So, what would become of our two size-deficient fighters here? We'll see tall-ass motherfucker Schilt return in short order for Pride 17. Championship Chaos, where he will take on the Masaki Satake, that is. As for Shoji, he won't be back until Pride 18. Cold Fury 2, where he'll take on a debuting Jeremy Horn. We'll see you boys then! Before our next fight, we are treated to the middleweight championship bout announcement in the ring, with Kai Grant introducing both Sakuraba and Silva, who have microphones, and then they talk to the crowd to hype up the fight.
Announcer extraordinaire. Vanderlei Silva.
Não tem essa, vou meter porrada e vou meter local. Vou mostrar que aqui tem, quando vai estruturar o Brasil.
November 3rd, is the date of that, it will be Pride Fighting Championship Chaos, and that will be at the Tokyo Dome.
That fight goes down at our next Pride event, Pride 17. Now it's on to fight 6 of the evening, which sees a return of Gilbert Ivel taking on a debuting Don Frye. Gilbert was 25 years old here, and his MMA record was 24-7-1 no contest. Dandy Don from the USA was 35 years old, and his MMA record was 11-1. The Hurricane is back, and he's going to be taking on a mustachioed macho man called Don Frye. But just who is this Fryu? Born in Sierra Vista, Arizona, Don wrestled through high school and college. Though he tried to go at the 1988 U.S. Olympic team, steep competition at the time halted those dreams. And so Don became a firefighter instead, while doing boxing and judo in his spare time. In 1989, Don had his one and only pro boxing bout, a KO victory against Luis Mora in the first round. After the UFC opened up shop, Don was coaxed to give it a try at the behest of his old wrestling coach, the one mustache to rule them all, Dan the Beast Severn, who himself had found success in the UFC in the early days. Soon Don was joining the fray. It was at UFC 8 in February of '96 that Don would make his MMA debut, and he would have to face down 3 opponents in one night. Remember, Don had only limited professional fighting experience prior to this debut. To say that Don eviscerated the competition at UFC 8 would be an understatement. He demolished Thomas Ramirez in 8 seconds with a KO punch, then Sam Adkins in 48 seconds via TKO. Gary Goodridge would be Don's final challenge that night, and Don used his wrestling prowess to get on top of Gary and make him submit to strikes after 2 minutes. UFC 9 in May of '96, the shit show that happened in Detroit featuring Dan Severn versus Ken Shamrock in one of the worst fights of all time, was a non-tournament event, and Don Frye fought Amaury Bittetti, who was a substitute for Marco Huas, who was sick. Regardless, Don Frye TKO'd Amaury after 9 minutes. Returning to tournament action at UFC 10 in July of 96, Don pummeled Mark Hall, whom Don would go on to beat 2 more times in the future, then Brian Johnston, his buddy, before Frye would have to face off against a very scary and uber prime Mark Coleman.
It's a big mental aspect here right now.
The octagon with the 2 lock gates, the tight canvas skin pad, the 5'6" padded walls on top of a chain link fence. 6-0 in the UFC 8 champion, undefeated, a mean streak, a wrestling background.
And weighing in at 245 pounds, please welcome from Columbus, Ohio, fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, Mark Coleman.
It'll be interesting here whether Coleman can get inside. And I don't think Frye spent very much time on the ground. On his back, he hasn't been in the guard too many times. I'm sure he's versed in it.
Oh, good quick. More punches from Coleman. A plethora of right hands.
None of them are real clean. Frye's doing the job of deflecting most of that. That's a lot of energy that Coleman's spending there.
Coleman would trample poor Frye's head with punches, elbows, headbutts, and knees, and Coleman would secure the UFC 10 tournament win after the doctor stepped in to stop the fight. Making a brief stop in Japan for U Japan in November to beat up poor Mark Hall a second time. You can see this whole event in our classic MMA Revival series, by the way. Don Frye then went back for more UFC action at UFC Ultimate 96 in December of 96. Standing in his way, first Gary Goodridge, who succumbed to exhaustion after 11 minutes. Mark Hall fell to an Achilles lock in 20 seconds. And Tank Abbott was submitted with a rear naked choke after 1 minute. Don Frye had become a 2-time UFC tournament winner. After this, Don Frye fell prey to what is fondly called Enochiism. After the media circus that was UFC 9, something about human cockfighting and brutality in MMA, Don Frye lost his job as a fireman, and Enochi, who loves him some real-life tough men, tapped Don to come to Japan and join New Japan Pro Wrestling. And so, Don Frye trained some pro wrestling stateside with none other than Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig, before making his debut for New Japan Pro Wrestling in August of 97, defeating his soon-to-be best bro, Kazuyuki Fujita. Frye, who worked as a heel, quickly rose the ranks of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Well, gal, I'm gonna kick your ass. My submissions are 10 times better than your submissions. You're weak and you're a fool. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
But Don's full exploits in pro wrestling are a story for another day. Now back in MMA, this would be Don's first fight in over 4 years. Pre-fight, Boss interviews Don, hilariously goofing with him by putting the microphone right into his nose.
I'm here with Don Frye. Don, how have you been doing, man?
Don has a terrorist suck shirt on. Nice. Don says he came back to MMA to make a good living for his kids, and he doesn't know what he's going to do in the fight, as he just shoots from the hip when he fights.
5 years. Why the comeback?
Ego, just to see if I could do it again, but also for my children. I want to give them a good life, secure a future for them, let them go to college so they don't have to beat people up for a living.
Okay. Going, Gilbert Ivel, stand-up fighter, you want to take it to the ground, or you're just going to trade shots?
I don't know. I never know what I'm going to do. I just get out there and shoot from the hip.
Okay, man. Now, Don, you got a special corner. Can you introduce us?
Yeah, I've got a great corner. There's Sam Sotelo, he's a corrections officer down there in Tucson, Arizona. Jeff Spencer, he's a firefighter down in Sierra Vista, Arizona. This is Denny Devine, he's my training partner. All-American, national champion in wrestling, all-around stud.
Then it's Ivel's turn, who is with Quadros. Ivel is wearing a Hickson Gracie ball cap, and that's a surprise for me, considering his beef with the Brazilians from a couple prides ago. He says Don Frye is going to be a coward and try to take him down. Ivel complains about this like a fucking pud.
You got a Hickson Gracie cap, what's that about?
I make my groundwork looks better. When I put this on, I became a different man. Man, I do arm locks, arm bars. I become very good. Yeah.
Your prediction on the fight?
I think it's going to be a coward, and they're going to try to take me down. As always, all the fighters are cowards. They don't want to stand up with me. I think it's gonna be do like stupid go to the ground. Why don't they stand up with me like a real man? Fight like a real man.
He then confirms that he himself is the most dangerous stand-up fighter in MMA. Quadros then brings up the Brazilians.
How's your relationship with Brazilian fighters right now?
Okay, I only like Rancer Craig, I like him. Nogueira's relaxed fighter and all. And the rest.
Why?
Because especially the guys of the gym of the Silva. I want to fight him again, kick his ass.
What, you have a problem with Vandalay?
Yeah, because he kicked me in the nuts. I want to fight him again, I kick his ass.
Oh boy, the beef is on, boys. The beef is on. Don Frye comes out to the Star-Spangled Banner, and while Mezger was wearing American shorts, Don Frye is legendary for wearing them in his fights, not just here, but throughout his career.
And the man that Gilbert will face,
in the red corner,
formerly known as the Predator, he likes to be called Don Frye now. Don Frye, ironically, was one of the first combatants in mixed martial arts that really put strikes together. Had knees, he had punches, but he may be facing the new generation of strikers of Gilbert Ivel. Coming out to the national anthem of the United States, Don Frye, a truly patriotic American. Now, this is the kind of guy, he's like the quintessential American. You look at him, and you can almost guess he came from the USA.
He's something special, man, I'm telling you. When you met him in the pre-interview fights, terrorist son. That's what his t-shirt said.
Quadros says how excited he is that Don Frye is back, and yes, this was a good day for MMA, my friends. Gilbert Ivel is already in the ring, and Kai Grant handles our ring introductions.
It's no mystery that Gilbert Ivel wants to keep this fight on his feet. Great stare down. The crowd likes it. Don Frye is hyper-focused, and it seems even despite the circumstances of 9/11. I think the obvious game plan is pretty obvious. Even though Don Frye has got pretty good strikes, I don't know he wants to test his strikes here with Gilbert Ivel, and there's the stare down. Gilbert, by the way, went on record and said to me, we in Holland, and I'll quote him, are sad at what happened in the U.S., unquote.
Good Vibe Soundboard. This is your first time seeing Don Frye. What do you think?
There's no way he can lose. Look at that. He is confident. He has the winner's haircut.
Oh, I agree. He does have a very nice haircut. It's time for fighting. Round one. Frye charges out and Ivel meets him with a flying knee, to which Don tries to take him down, but Ivel scrambles up. Against the ropes, they both dirty box. Then in the corner, Don looks hurt as he collapses back. Ivel flies in for a knee, then Ivel rocks him with punches. Knee to the body by Ivel, and we're clinched.
He should defeat Gilbert Ivel. He would definitely want to face Coleman. Gilbert jumping up and going. Don Frye gets the takedown, but Gilbert scoots back up. Gilbert almost gave Don Frye that takedown on a silver platter. It was Don, went for the body lock. Don's got underhooks here. I think it's just a matter of time before Don Frye can get the trip. Don Frye striking his way out. Don Frye hurt here. Oh, big right hand by Gilbert Ivel. Gilbert going for the knee. Don hanging onto the ropes. Oh, left knee.
Don has a body lock. Ivel grabs the ropes like a cheating fuck. Not once, not twice, not thrice, but thrice as the ref smack Ivel's hands. The outside ref, not sure of his name, he's the Jonah Jameson looking ref. He alerts Yuji Shimada, our ring ref, to something that Ivel is doing. Yuji Shimada then decides to break this up and give a yellow card, and I believe Ivel is being warned for his fingers and Frye's eyes. Don looks like he's having trouble seeing.
I can't see, goddammit. My eyes are going crazy.
The doctor comes in to take a look. Don says he's okay, and we're ready to go. On the restart, Ivel, of course, flies in with a knee. Frye grabs it, trips him down. Ivel spins up to his feet. Frye flies after him. We're in the corner. Wild punches by both men. Headbutt by Don Frye, and he's having flashbacks to his UFC days.
Don hanging onto the ropes there. Headbutting him.
Don tries to take Ivel down, who has hooked the ropes, and the outside ref has had enough of Ivel's shit, yanking his arms out of the ropes. Ivel takes offense to this.
At all costs, keep this position. And then, Gilbert's holding on. That should be another yellow card. Don is really limping here. Maybe that Gilbert getting a yellow card. Don really limped back to that corner.
Ivel looks upset at the ref. The fight is then restarted again, and like Groundhog Day, Ivel throws his jumping knee, which does connect, but Frye grabs his hips and takes him down into the ropes. This is really getting personal here, says Quadros. Frye works ground and pound. The ref decides to reposition the fighters. Ivel refuses to go back down to the ground. Then, after a moment, finally does. Thank God, says Boss.
Gilbert will not get back down on the ground. Pride rules dictate that if the fighters are going to be restarted, okay, Gilbert finally giving up.
Thank God, because he was on the point of getting disqualified.
Exactly.
The fight is restarted. Frye works the pass. We go towards the ropes. Don works a crossface. Ivel works punches. Nice punch by Frye. He works a neck crank, and Ivel puts his thumb right in Frye's eye. Ivel then works for an armbar. Don passes to side control, then north-south. The freaky mount. Then back to side control. Frye knees Ivel's head. Quadros says this is an unbelievable match. A rough and tumble affair.
You should really start throwing knees here. That right knee, there it is. Unbelievable match. A rough and tumble affair. Practically a street fight at this moment.
Don tries for an Americana. Ivel breaks it, but Frye tries again, then gets mount. Bad spot for Ivel. Don punches his head, getting a cheer from the crowd every time he does it.
Gilbert. If Gilbert lets go of his hands, we've got a long first round here.
Yeah, he should cross-face him.
Ivel tries to bridge and roll, but gets none of it. Don tries to smother Ivel, but this allows Ivel to roll him. Now Ivel is in Frye's guard. Ivel rains down punches. Don pushes him away. Ivel with a deadly serious kick that just grazes Frye's head. Don grabs his ankle. We're in the corner. Ivel works a guillotine, and what? Only 5 minutes into the round? Wow. I can't believe it. Don lifts and tries to dump Ivel, who slacks the ropes with his arm, but he slips off and now Don is in guard. We're in the ropes, but the refs don't stop it yet. Don works punches, then works a choke/smother. Ivel gets dangerously close to raking Frye's eyes. Frye punches, works the body, and the ref decides to move the fighters. Don gets pushed away and Ivel is up like a bat out of hell. He rushes Frye with punches. They clinch, slide along the ropes. Ivel knees. Ivel then rakes Don's eyes. 3 minutes left now. Don with a body lock. Ivel slacks the ropes with his arms. Ivel digs his thumb right in front of the ref into Don's left eye. Don tries to explode out, and Yuji Shimada has simply seen enough. He calls for the bell.
Don almost had him on the deck. Almost had him on the ground. And is Gilbert putting that thumb where it shouldn't belong again?
Yep.
And Don Frye, okay, that's it.
That's it. Gilbert lost.
Disqualification. Don Frye.
Don Frye is thus the winner via DQ at 7 minutes, 27 seconds of the first round. Don limps back to his corner. Ivel is being held back by his corner, and he looks like he wants to fight the ref, Frye, whoever is in front of him.
He's limping back to his corner. A miraculous victory at 7 minutes, 29 seconds. Oh, 7 minutes, 20 seconds.
Look at the ring, guys. There's a lot of commotion in the ring. Iloka Elmond, famous Thai boxer from Holland, holding Gilbert Ivel there. Gilbert is prisoner. There's a lot of commotion going on. The Frye's corner, I'm taking Frye.
Don looks like me taking a bump or two to the eye, because that kind of swelling is not for punches.
Yep.
the inner swelling like that. Now, we've said people have heart. Don Frye.
Quadros says that Frye came into this fight hurt with a groin pull, and that he's come back to fight because he wants a rematch with Coleman. Frye gets his trophy, his giant cardboard sign, and then he gets on the mic. He tells Gilbert to settle down, and that they can fight again, brother. They can fight again.
Stop it, strike. So Frye is back. Need to go back and heal that a leg. There he goes, limping to the side, grabbing the microphone. Let's see what Mr. Frye, formerly known as the Predator, has to say.
Gilbert, settle down. We can do it again, brother. We can do it again. We can do it again.
Don Frye announcing that they can do it again.
Ivel finally simmers down and embraces Frye, and then Gilbert takes the mic, saying why was he fucked? Why was he given yellow cards? He keeps going, and the crowd turns on him. It's fucking awesome.
Meaning, he's glad they give him a rematch.
Why I almost get why they give me yellow cards? Okay, I get it. Everybody's here, I get it.
Well, Gilbert's very unpopular here.
Yeah, because it's normal. He was holding the rope. You know, Gilbert's a good friend of mine. He held the rope many, many times. 3 times they gave him the yellow card, and that's it, like you said before.
Don Frye is headed to the back, and we're off to our main event. Good Vibe soundboard. What did you think of Gilbert Ivel and his antics?
He is the fucking douchebag.
I agree. He is a fucking douchebag. Great fight. This turned personal real quick, and even though it was dirty, I was thoroughly invested and on the edge of my seat. Ivel is a brat, a sore loser, and a bit of an asshole. He was crossing the line with his shit, and his attitude and behavior have no place in a professional fight. Don Frye is my fucking hero. 8 out of 10. So, what would become of our 2 vision-impaired punchers here? Don Frye would be back for more Pride action at Pride 19. Bad blood. But before then, he would help Papa Inoki out at his 2001 Boombaye event in December. There he will face Cyril Abedi. As for Gilbert the Eye Gouger of Ivel, he won't be back until Pride 21, where he will be taking on Jeremy Horn. See you or not then, boys.
Nogueira. And his opponent now making it into the Osaka Joe Hall, Mark the Hammer Coleman.
It's hammer time.
Oh, yes it is. And Mark Coleman has got just such a long list of wrestling titles, but it's when he stepped into mixed martial arts that he really started to prove the dominance of wrestlers who could go into the guard and strike, or take you down and strike. He is the man responsible for the term ground and pound. You take an opponent to the ground and you pound them.
Mark Coleman, unbelievable strong, also a lot of affected by the whole happening in New York. I hope also with his mother-in-law he had some problems, so that's a mental thing that he had.
Yes, his mother-in-law was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
He said it's okay to mention it, and he obviously has so much emotional weight on his shoulders right now. I discussed it with Mark, how there was a boxing match once between a guy named James Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson.
It's time for the main event of our show, which sees a returning Mark Coleman taking on a returning Antonio Nogueira. Mark Coleman was 36 years old, and his record here was 12-4. Meanwhile, Minotauro was 25 years old, and his record was 12-1-1. We last saw Coleman back at Pride 13 in March of 2001, where he beat up Alan Goes, and we just saw Nogueira last Pride 15, where he submitted Gary Goodridge. Now it's time to find out who will be fighting for the Pride Heavyweight Championship against Heath Herring at Championship Chaos. Pre-fight, Boss interviews Coleman and asks him how he's been preparing. Mark says his training hasn't been going as planned, and health problems with his mom prevented him from getting some private lessons from a submission specialist.
How have you been preparing for this fight? Because a few things happened.
Well, I'll be honest with you, my preparation didn't go as planned. I'm not making any excuses, but I had hoped to go out to California and get some personal instructions from a submission specialist, but I had some personal problems at home with my mother-in-law coming down with ovarian cancer, so I had to deal with that and take care of my family. But I've trained myself before. I've been around for a long time, so I'm comfortable with where I'm at.
I wonder if it was Rickson Gracie. Boss also asks him about Don Frye and how he came back to fighting to avenge his loss. Coleman gives us his thoughts.
Don has been saying that he came back to mixed martial arts because of you. What do you want to say to Don?
Well, I respect that. It's his only loss. It was some time ago, and it's probably maybe been eating away at him. He's a fierce competitor, and he wants to avenge that loss. Hopefully, maybe he can get through tonight's fight with a win. That's very important, obviously, and I need to win also. And it looks like that'd be a great matchup here in Japan, and also the American fans would like to see something like that, and I'd be willing to do it.
Then we get some training shots of Coleman, and do my eyes deceive me, or do I see the bleached blonde hair of Josh Barnett training with him? I think I do. And just for good balance, we also see Nogueira training in the back, but no interview for him. Minotauro is already in the ring, but Coleman gets his ring entrance. It's hammer time, says Boss. Josh Barnett is definitely with Coleman, coming out to the ring with him, and this is our first exposure to Josh and Pride. He looks like he's trimmed down, lost some weight since 2000, when he was quite portly, if you remember. Coleman must be sharing his training secrets with him, if you know what I mean. Not much of a stare down, and we're ready to go. That is, unless you have anything to say, Good Vibe Soundboard. Nothing? You don't have anything to say?
Fuck you, Takeda!
The bell rings! Minotauro takes the center of the ring, and then the men collide trying to get off punches. We're clinched in the corner. Minotauro has the dominant position. Minotauro knees. Coleman pushes him out of the corner, and we go straight to the opposite corner. Minotauro breaks away and hammers Coleman with lefts and rights. Minotauro is definitely in control here. Coleman has to be concerned. Uppercuts now from Minotauro, then knees as Coleman pushes out from the corner. Coleman whiffs on a right as he separates, then fires a left that is deflected. Whiffs on a follow-up left. Brief clinch, leg kick by Minotauro. Coleman looks gassed. Coleman fires his own leg kick. We clinch again. Small knees by Minotauro. Then he pulls away. Big boo-boo by Nogueira as he slips, throwing a right high kick. Then Coleman pounces on him, getting him down and into guard. Coleman with a nice right body shot. Coleman briefly tries a neck crank. They trade small punches. Coleman turns him towards the ropes. Nogueira springs a Kimura, but Coleman is able to get out of it. Coleman is at the end of Nogueira's feet now. Nogueira up kicks, then Coleman falls right into a triangle. He's okay for now and clocks Minotauro in the face, then short hammer fist, and Nogueira lets go of the triangle. 5 minutes down in round 1, and the ref comes in to move the fighters, and they have a bit of trouble getting the position just right. Coleman a bit perturbed by this.
Plays the half guard, butterfly guard, everything, and that's his game, So, but like you said, Coleman looks fresh again. Coleman, yeah, he had it on the hip. He had the butterfly guard, I think, before. Coleman looking a little frustrated. That's not a good sign.
On the restart, Coleman works the body. Nogueira traps the right wrist, obviously foreshadowing an attack on that side. Nogueira slips Coleman's arm and tries for a triangle. Coleman tries to pass, but Minotauro stays with him. And just like that, he's locked down the triangle choke. Coleman tries to smash Nogueira, then stands but leaves his arm for the taking, to which Minotauro does. And then just like that, Coleman has tapped out.
Yeah, here we go again. Oh, there it is again. Almost got to pass the butt there. Almost tried to put Nogueira. No. It's going to be over. It's going to be over. The fight is over. It's going to be over. Coleman has got to slam him. He's got to do some. Big trouble here. Coleman is on the verge of being choked out by Nogueira. Coleman is going to pull his way out. Is he going to be out? He's got the armbar, boss. Coleman tapping out. Oh, straight armbar. Mark Coleman has been submitted. Oh my God, by Antonio Minotauro Nogueira. Wow.
Minotauro winner via armbar at 6 minutes 10 seconds of the first round. Minotauro gets a dull fruit sign to hold up. Sweetio, it says. Oh, and I guess Quadros doesn't know where this fight puts the heavyweight championship at Pride 17.
Nogueira really has arrived big time on the world scene. Antonio Nogueira, now, where does this put our heavyweight title fight coming up November 3rd? You got to factor Nogueira in there, because right now he beat the man who was the man.
Psst, it's Herring versus Nogueira Quadros. Nogueira takes some pictures in the ring with the Brazilian top team. Nogueira gets on the mic and Quadros just talks right over him. Then Boss does it too. Not sure what Nogueira says as he speaks Portuguese, which is then translated into Japanese.
But we also have that world middleweight title fight, and it's going to be a rematch between Kazushi Sakuraba, the submission master from the Takada Dojo, versus the shootbox terror, the axe murderer, Vanderlei Silva. That fight, Boss, is going to be a war.
Oh my God, and it's going to be a little bit the same as last time. It's going to be unbelievable. But this time, Sakuraba will be adapted to the new rules. You can make a big bet on it. So if it's going to be the same thing, I don't know. I see a lot of power in the...
Then Quadros recaps our show and we close out our event. But before we get to that, Colombian Good Vibes soundboard, I don't think I have any more responses that are going to actually make any sense. So let's just hear what you have to say.
I like this match. It's a striking match. It was not only a striking match, it was, to a certain degree, an even striking match.
Okay. My thoughts here. This was a great clash of old school MMA ground and pound fighter versus a pure technical jiu-jitsu grappler. Coleman unfortunately kind of gassed out and he really wasn't prepared for the submissions of Nogueira. Good fight and a nice main event. 7 out of 10. So what would become of our two heavyweight wankers here? Minotauro will be back at the next Pride 17, to take on Heath Herring for the inaugural Pride Heavyweight Championship. As for Coleman, we won't see him back for quite a while, nearly 2 years in fact, when he will fight at Pride 26, Bad to the Bone, in June of 2003. There, Coleman will in fact fight Don Frye. Coleman will not fight at all between those two events. We'll see you then, boys. Post-fight, Quadros brings up beef that is brewing between the Brazilian top team and the fun boys of Shootbox.
Yeah, I think there may be a little bit of a rivalry brewing between the Brazilian top team and the Shootbox Academy, because they had some words the other day, because evidently one of the Brazilian top team guys was helping Yamamoto train to fight against Assuerio Silva. So the two teams had some terse moments there. I think we got a rivalry brewing there.
He then continues the recap, talks about the heavyweight division. Boss wants to talk about Heath Herring.
Wild, ugly fight against Gilbert Ivel.
Let's not forget Heath Herring.
Okay, but but Heath wasn't here tonight. We know about Heath.
And then we close out the show with Quadros interviewing the fighters post-event. And with that, we've come to a close to Pride 16. Colombian Good Vibe. Soundboard. What do you think?
My overall thoughts is that for the most part, this event was great. And fuck you, Takada.
This was a good event. I think the only stinker on this card was Mezger versus Arona. The rest were all pretty good. While there wasn't anything really unbelievable or truly amazing in this event, save for maybe Frye versus Ivel bordering on being spectacular, it was just an all-around solid, serviceable card. I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's a time of the show where we pick our fight of the night. Good Vibe soundboard, I don't think you're going to have a fight of the night, are you?
No.
My fight of the night, Frye versus Ivel. Just because it was so intense, dramatic, heated, it got my blood pumping. It wasn't a clean fight. It was just a fight. And with that, fans, we've come to a close of another episode. Wow! What a show! The best yet! We'll be back in short order for more man-on-man action when we review Pride 17 Championship Chaos! But just what is in store for us with that event? Pride 17 features 9 bouts in total, with 7 MMA bouts and 2 special Pride vs. K1 rules fights. Henzo Gracie marks his return to Pride to take on Japanese pro wrestler Michiyoshi Ohara. Rampage Jackson is also back to take on Japanese pro wrestler Yuki Ishikawa. Murilo Ninja Hua takes on a returning Dan Henderson. Semmy Schilt takes on a returning Masake Satake. Igor Volchanshin makes his return to take on Mario Sperry. Tom Erickson, Grizzly Man of the Back Mountains, returns to take on Matt Skelton in one of the Pride vs. K1 rules fights. And then the great one, Nobuhiko Badass Takada.
Fuck you, Takada.
Marks his triumphant return to take on dirty Croatian peasant Mirko Krokop in our second Pride vs. K1's rules fight. Heath Herring takes on Minotauro for the heavyweight championship, and to top it all off, Vanderlei Silva and Sakuraba will fight it out for the Pride middleweight championship belt. It looks like an awesome night of fights, and I'm really excited for it. But for now, fight fans, we must bid you adieu. So, for the Colombian Good Vibe, woo! I am the most dangerous man alive today, wishing you goodbye, good luck, and we'll sniff you fucking jerks later.